Hello, hello, hello. You're tuning into another episode of The Wunderkind Show. Today's topic, we had a couple of press conferences today. And guess what? Let me tell you what happened, why this is funny. Let me tell you why and what we're going to go into. And Wunderkinds, like I said, always, the truth shall set you free. But we're going to get into EDC first. So EDC has his presser. The very first question, you already know where it was going. Where and how is it going with Lamar and the contract? EDC said, I just talked to him the other day. We're in such great spirits, of getting this done. Should have been done 3 years ago. But I digress. We're going to keep going. And he got a plethora of questions about Lamar. The first 6 questions about Lamar. But then the very funny part of it hit. And that was about the wide receiving position. And he said, we know that our wide receivers aren't, we've been missing, and we haven't had any all-pro type receivers that we've drafted. But that doesn't mean we're not going to keep swinging. It's just something, it's a weird thing that has, never been rectified, and it doesn't mean that we stop or whatever. We just going to keep taking our shots in the draft. What is the definition of insanity? Can somebody please read it off for me? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting a different result. The Ravens, since their inception, has yet to be able to draft an all-pro wide receiver. And I know some people's going to be like, but Nitro, is because we love to run the ball. It's the system. Those wide receivers have left the Ravens and went on teams with better quarterbacks, more pass-happy schemes, and they didn't turn out to be those guys either on those teams, which is hilarious to me. I will say this so many times, and people are not going to recognize where I'm coming from when I do it. EDC and Harbaugh are too comfortable. They're way too comfortable. You know what? I'm showing my age again. I remember when I was younger, right? And when your parents wanted you to do something, they would tighten the screws a little on certain things. They're like, your grades are slipping. They're going to make things a little uncomfortable for you. You're not going to have the same freedom that you do when the results and other things are not living up to the standards that they require in their house. You understand? You know what EDC should have said? He should have said, look, we've missed a lot. And we'll be looking at different avenues definitely this year to change that incredulous stat, because it's something that has plagued the organization, and I want to make sure that it changes under my watch. Tell me right now if he would have said that, you would have had a problem with it. You wouldn't. You would not. You wouldn't. And that's my problem with this team. You know where I'm going next with this. So, remember, EDC had his press. Harbaugh had his press conference, too. He was all smiles. He was taking pictures with the kids. He was doing all that. And, of course, he was asked questions about Lamar, the franchise. And he made it very simple, listen, man, Lamar is our future, our present. He's that guy. I've never thought of having or coaching without having Lamar Jackson as the QB. Even EDC said, we know what it is not having a quarterback in this league and everything. Saying everything that we've been saying and thinking for how long now? But here's the part that got me. Because I know a lot of people that watch this show goes on Twitter, right? So Twitter, of course, Jonas Schaefer posted that John Harbaugh said he didn't really have the time to break down Georgia's offense on film during the Todd Monken interview process. Do you know what that means? Outside of the Wunderkind show was right, to all the doubters, that would mean two things. One, because people are defending it already, right? They're like, oh no, you guys are just looking for something to be mad about. They said that there was a committee of Anthony Weaver and other people that were lining up the coaches to be interviewed by John Harbaugh. Right? Right. Okay. That's their basis for John Harbaugh. They're the ones picking the coaches for him to interview. They're doing all the scouting, all the work. Do you know what that means? That means he overlooked all of their work, their hard work, their time, trying to find the perfect coordinator for this team to complement Lamar Jackson. And he said, you know what, guys? I want to also interview this guy. Well, why, John? Why do you want to interview him? Because my sister told me so. Well, what do you know what his stuff look like? How does he look on tape? I don't know, but I know what my sister told me. She told me he was great. Like Tony the Tiger. Great. And guess what? Out of all the candidates that were interviewed, that they put tape on, that they watched tape, the one that they didn't watch tape on, the one that they didn't bring to the table, the one who Harbaugh suggested was the one that got the coaching hire. That don't sound like nepotism to you? Listen, let me tell y'all something right now. If John Harbaugh was doing great, I would say he's doing great, right? That's the way things are. He's been half-stepping for years now, and he's been getting away with it, and nobody calls him out on it. He's defended every step of the way. It's comical at this point. And then, and this is how we're going to put the icing on the cake. And then the NFLPA does a grading system for the facilities and treatment of players for the NFL. A report card, as some might call it. And the same strength and conditioning coach that we've been complaining about. Mind you, we're not even in the building. Mind you, he's not working us out. Mind you, we're not work for John Harbaugh, but us fans. Us, the people at the bottom of the bar could easily see that what he was doing was a problem. He got an F-. Hey yo, listen, I need all y'all that are watching this to tell me right now. All of you guys have been to school. Some have been to private, some have been to Catholic, some have been to public, right? Some have even been to charter schools. Have you ever seen an F-? Please, no. I need you to tell me right now. Have you ever seen an F- ever given to anybody's report ever on anybody's card? They didn't even say he failed. He failed negatively. That means if it was a 0, he got negative like 5. And they kept him on. This is the insolence that we speak on. Because he should have been fired years ago. And he wasn't. He was kept on. And then when you see all the grades, you're like, man, that's crazy. But once again, we're at the end of the bar. We don't know what we're talking about. You know, people are considered. Look, the one thing I always tell people, The truth shall set you free. It's that easy. Do you know what the truth does? Truth is the perfect weapon against lies. Truth is the perfect weapon against an unhonest person. Truth is the perfect weapon against ridicule. And guess what? All of us have been speaking truth. Now, there's a lot of people that just want us to just
stop it. Get some help.
But we're not going to get no help because we have been deep rooted in truth. Truth. Imagine me getting tweeted, because I didn't even know Harbaugh said that. I was trying to skim through getting as much information to talk on as possible. And somebody sent it and said, yo, Nitro was right. No, Nitro wasn't right. We were right. The Wunderkinds were right. Team Wunderkind. And you know what's crazy? We don't even have to be in the building to see these things. That's why it's frustrating watching EDC build a team. That's why it's frustrating watching John Harbaugh coach this team. That's why it was irresistibly frustrating to watch Greg Roman do what he does. You know why? Because they're not held accountable for their poorish decisions. That's why. If they came out candid and said, you know what, guys, we have a lot of things to fix and we're sorry for some of the mistakes. It's not a perfect process and we've been deep rooted in doing things a certain way, but we're going to grow. We've grown. We've learned from our mistakes. And we'll be rectifying this season. Nobody would have a problem with what Harbaugh and EDC does. The problem is you hear things like we've never had an all-pro wide receiver. We're the only, I want to make sure everyone understands this. We are the only franchise to never have an all-pro receiver. Never. Never. Ever. Ever. And the best receivers that this franchise has ever had, they did nothing to retain them. Hold on. See, nobody's going to bring that up either. You could, listen. You could bring up Anquan Bolden. You could bring up Torrey Smith. You could bring up Marquise Hollywood Brown. The list is what it is. The people outside of Steve Smith, because he retired. The best receivers that we've ever had and played for this team have all been allowed to walk. So not only are they not retaining even good talent, not great talent, good talent, they can't draft great talent when it comes to offensive skill position players. And they refuse to trade and pay top-end offensive talent. So then it's like, then what are you doing? Think about what I just said. Think about it. If you're going to look at this rationally, the good receivers that we've had, not great, good receivers that we've had has all been allowed to walk. We've never drafted a great receiver, right? You can only say definitively that you've drafted two good receivers, just two so far throughout your inception. Two, right? And then you don't trade for top of the line or top end offensive skill positions. So then that means, once again, like I said, you don't care about offense. And all you are doing now is giving us lip service. Pause! The fans deserve better than this. This is why I said that, they were willing to just put everything on Lamar. I want everybody to recognize this. We run the cheapest offense in the NFL. The cheapest. And even though it was the cheapest, they refused to surround Lamar with talent. Now you have EDC saying, we're just going to take more and more swings at it. Swing better, swing better, swing better, swing. How many times do you have to miss in the draft until you say, oh my God, Mike Evans is there. Oh my God, DeAndre Hopkins is there. Maybe we should just go get him. How many times do you have to be wrong until you understand that you just don't have the eye for it? And then he tried to get loud and be like, I was a scout for so long. What were you watching as a scout? It seems all they watch for is defense. I told y'all, they lucked out with Lamar. So now what do we have to do? As Raven fans, we have to sit here and say, oh, don't worry. Whenever they draft for our needs. They'll draft what we best need, and they'll put their best foot forward. And then if there's any problems with what they do, they'll say, oh, we'll go back to the draft and we'll try again. Try again without a Lamar Jackson. It's sickening. Sickening. Shout out to Lamar, too. I was talking to somebody about this. I said, he's handled this with such class. Such class. EDC went up there and said, oh, we made a pact that nothing will leak. Nothing will leak. Some of the stuff that were leaking, there was no way the NFLPA could have leaked it. Came from the team's end. But I digress. I heard people keep saying they don't think Lamar's coming back. I thoroughly think that he is. I hope he is. I really do. We're looking at a team right now that just won't get out of their own way. And they keep doing the same stuff over and over again. People doing horrible jobs. You're paying them the most at their positions, especially the coaches, and you just keep them. You just keep them. Brandon Williams, the contract that he had for years. And you kept him. You allowed him to stay there. I don't dislike Brandon Williams. I thought he, was a good player. Shout out to him for getting the money, but still, you paid that man that much money. What was your excuse for not paying offense? Something has to give. And then the funny part is, John Harbaugh even came out and said, Lamar wants to be a part of everything. Why do you think Lamar probably wants to be a part of everything now? Because he's figuring out y'all ain't good at what y'all do. Wouldn't you, when you're taking all of the criticism, oh, Lamar wants to be a part of everything, it's kind of, why do you think you made him play with Greg Roman for years? Steve Saunders was the one training him for years. You had no problem with it. None. You had no problem making the media make him look horrible. Because y'all say, oh, we're not going to defend him in the media. We think he might be okay to play. We don't know. Then you're going to lie. Oh, I'm not allowed to speak on it. It's against the law. Wake up, Raven fans. Wake up. Until something drastic happens, we're in a perpetual circle of mayhem and destruction. Because we'll only be good enough, and the circle starts right back at its beginning. And we might actually end up being just mediocre. Because, oh, well, we can run the ball and we'll have a great defense, but, Lamar, we just couldn't come to terms. Could you imagine how bad that would be? How absolutely deplorable that would be? I took nothing but bad from these press conferences. And I know people are going to say because I'm a negative person, but it's because they make it so easy to stick holes in their arguments and their statements. They make it easy. Absolutely easy. But hey, what does the Wunderkind know, right? And that was another episode of the Wunderkind Show. Man, listen, y'all are so great. Thank you for watching, supporting. If you're a new person watching this content, please do remember, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. We love talking amongst each other. Just be cordial and respectful to people in the comment section, and there's no problem. We have a great time. And if you would like to donate to this platform to help it grow, at the bottom of the screen is the Cash App, right? And in the description is also the Cash App, $, The Wunderkind Show. So once again, it's The Wunderkind Show. This is your host, Nitro, signing off. And as always, you guys knows my slogan, peace. And I am out of here. Pray for the Ravens. Yeah!